Yeah, no. Dave's running the 50-50 draw at my funeral. Okay, right on. Welcome to Fire for Effect. Fire for Effect is brought to you by the Dean Blundell Podcast Network. Go to deanblundell.com, Canada's largest digital source of news, sports, podcasts, and all kinds of fucking cool, entertaining, and interesting shit. When you go there, click on the little icon up top, scroll down to podcasts. You'll find my icon in there. You can get me on Spotify, iTunes, and whatever else. Mr. Chris Rook, who is the magic behind DeanBlundell.com, the technical magic. Check it out, DeanBlundell.com. This episode is also brought to you by Positive Mike's Brewing Company, as you can see over here. You can buy his gear, but you can't buy his beer. I can get his beer, and I'm not going to lie. I had a lot of his beer prior to and during the recording of this particular episode. So let's get into that. Episode 2, Part 1 of Fire for Effect. I sit down with my guest and we get into all kinds of fucking interesting shit. We actually didn't get into what I thought we were going to talk about. We kind of had a plan and it went left right away, but the content was awesome. We had a great time doing it. I was clearly having a great time, so I hope you guys enjoy it. My next guest is a 22-year current serving member of the Canadian Armed Forces. He's a member of the 1st Battalion Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry. He has done 3 deployments to Afghanistan. One of those is a sniper, which is the bulk of the conversation that we have. He is Canadian fucking badass and a real nice guy. Welcome to the show, Morgan Warren. Let's do this. It always starts with raising glass. It's good to have you here, brother.
Awesome to be here.
I'm trying to be quiet because I got jacked up for clanging on the metal. Before we kick it off, as I said, very good friend of mine, Morgan Warren, guest number 2, episode 2. If you come on the show, you get a gift. Right there on. You go. I got some fucking swag. That's a monkey shit green shirt. I asked for olive drab. I got neon fucking Miami Vice green.
That's awesome. Appreciate it, Chris.
Thank you for coming, man. We're gonna have a good conversation tonight. So, one of the traditions we started here is if you come on the show, you have to fill in the gaps on the wall. So when JT was here, and for everybody watching, JT is behind acting as producer, director, blah, blah, blah. And he brought his ISAF ball hat out. And Morgan was kind enough to bring a ball hat in, so I'll let you fucking discuss what
when
you
sent me
brought there.
When you sent me the picture of the hat, I thought to myself, that's the perfect thing to bring. We were talking about it earlier. The baseball hat, it's one of those things that's like a quintessential like part of like our time in Afghanistan. It was one of those things. We all had ball hats. We all wanted to wear them. Our sergeant majors yelled at us every second they had because they absolutely didn't want us to wear one. And it's just become a part of our generation. So what I've brought to you is a sniper ball hat. My last posting, I was at the infantry school. I was the OIC of the sniper cell there. And so this is from there. So it's for you, brother.
Man, I appreciate that, bro. And when we have a lull in the firefight here, we'll fucking make sure she gets put on the wall. Thank you very much. In the interim, I'm going to put it right there. So, right on, let's get into it. And I'm going to start with the same kind of the shit I usually start with every guest that I'm bringing on the show. Tell me, why did you want to join the Army and like how that rolled out?
I don't know exactly why I wanted to join the Army, but I always wanted to join the Army. From as early as I can remember, before I started grade school, it was one of these things. I was fascinated with the Army. I was fascinated with Remembrance Day, and it's the only thing I can really remember. I always wanted to join the Army. That's what I always told my parents I was going to do. I told my teachers, and the first opportunity I had, I joined the Army Reserve when I was still in high school. And so it's just something I always wanted to do. It's just hardwired in me, I guess.
So what year did you join?
I joined the Army Reserve in St. John's, Newfoundland in October 1999.
Was that Royal Newfoundland Regiment?
Yeah, 1st Battalion, Royal Newfoundland Regiment.
So they have like 9,000 guys, don't they? Like, they're
give-
like
yeah.
one of the biggest fucking units in the country, man. From like back in the day, they were
Yeah, it's still a large unit. I think a lot of the reserve units in Eastern Canada are
hard
definitely,
motherfuckers. That's
definitely
for
large.
sure. You know, having the privilege of working with those guys, and like, yeah, man, we can put a battalion together, no fucking problem. If the regular force is short, we got like fucking 900 guys ready to roll. You can't fish for that cod as much as you used to be able to. So how long were you with them?
I was actually only with the Royal Newfoundland Regiment for about a year. And I finished high school and I put in my component transfer in, would have been November of 2000.
Okay.
And that was processed rather quickly. And then I found myself in Wainwright, Alberta on the 20th of January 2001.
And what drove that decision? Like, why did you decide, okay, I've did the reserve thing for a year and change or whatever it was. Now you want to go make a career out of it.
Well, I mean, I did the reserve thing because I was still in high school, and if I didn't finish high school, my dad would beat the shit out of me.
Okay.
So I had to finish high school, and it was a part-time job. It paid well, and that was my foot in the door to the army. And I wanted to join the army as quickly as I could. And then as soon as I was finished high school, then I was like, well, in for a penny, in for a pound. I'm going to go to the big leagues. So, I put in my transfer, went to Wainwright, became a member of the 1st Battalion, Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry here in Edmonton, and did 3 years there. I was actually not very pleased with the 1st Battalion, and I actually I shouldn't say released. I component transferred back to my old reserve unit, only so I could be there.
Wow!
So I could be there.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and the reason I did that is because I was in a mechanized unit, and I really didn't enjoy being in a mechanized unit. I joined the army to do what every guy wants to do. You want to jump out of airplanes and shoot guns, and
wear rucksacks.
and
walk long distances unnecessarily.
all those miserable things that you see in
yeah,
movies that
yeah.
are glorious, but they're absolutely horrible. So anyway, I went back to my reserve unit, resubmitted another component transfer because they would not transfer me from the 1st Battalion to the 3rd Battalion, even though it was just down the street. So I went back to the reserves, component transferred back to the regular force, and I was sent to the 3rd Battalion, fortunately. I mean, it was a huge gamble, but it worked out for me. And I think that was definitely a turning point for my career. If I hadn't have ended up in the 3rd Battalion, where I was from 2005 until 2017, I don't even know if I would have had the opportunities that were given to me. And I don't even know if I would have stayed in the Army as long as I did. But the 3rd Battalion, when I got there, I was, as they say, born again hard. And everything that I ever wanted to do, I got to do in the 3rd Battalion. Me and a lot of the guys, we refer to the 3rd Battalion as the land of infantry opportunity. Like it's a light unit, so we're not bogged down getting qualified on vehicles. We can do all the cool things. We can do para and mountain ops and helicopter operations, and that's kind of our mandate. So I got to do all the cool things that most guys join the Army to do.
To break it down for everybody, Canada has 3 regular infantry battalions. To break it down for everybody, Canada has 3 regular infantry regiments, which consist of the Royal Canadian Regiment, the Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry, and the Vendus.
Yes, the Vendus are the Royal 22nd Regiment.
Correct, the French.
Yeah, so and every the 3 regiments are broken down into 3 battalions, so we've got nine battalions.
Yeah, so you've served in 1 VP
and 3
VP, but you were never in 2 VP.
No, and the way the infantry battalions are structured, your 1st and your 2nd battalions are mechanized battalions, and your 3rd battalions are light battalions.
Right.
And that's the same across the board with the Vendus as well as the RCRs.
Right. The 3rd Battalion now retains the para capability.
Yes.
Mountain, all that light shit that you don't get in the 2 mechanized battalions.
Yeah, when the Airborne Regiment was disbanded there in 95, a lot of those
replaced
guys,
by C-Store.
Yeah, eventually, yeah, but prior to that, in 95, a lot of those old jumpers ended up in the 3rd battalions.
Yeah. They formed the jump companies, the para companies that got us to where we are today, which is, fed the Canadian Special Operations Regiment.
Absolutely.
Okay, right on. So you land in 3rd or 1st first?
I was in the 1st Battalion from May 2001 until 2004.
So how was that? Walk me through what's going on, because Actually, hang on. Let's rewind. Because it's still fresh. I'm kind of asking guys. September 11th, 2001. Where are you? What's going on? And what's your thought process?
Well, so on September 11th, 2001, we went to work like everybody else did, and we were doing PT. I was in one platoon, A company in the 1st Battalion, and we were just in front of the 1st Battalion lines, and there's a soccer pitch and baseball diamond out there, and we were actually doing circuit training on the baseball diamond with the NCOs, and they were just running the guts out of us, and that's exactly where I was. Now, we weren't aware that anything had happened until after PT. We walked back into the building, and we had an old grainy, shitty tube TV from the 90s in the back of our lines, and the picture wasn't very clear, but we could see one of the towers on fire, and our CQ was there, and he just kind of
This is when the first tower got hit.
This is when the first tower got hit.
You're not dialed into the fact that this is a fucking terrorist event as of yet.
As of yet.
It's just a wow. What the fuck's that? Up with that? Okay.
It was, but our CQ was an old airborne regiment guy, and he took one look at everybody, and he's like, "Well, fellas," he goes,
Pack your fucking kit, boys.
He's like, "All right, boys." He goes, "Hit the showers." He goes, "And make sure Ops 150 is packed." He goes, "Because who knows." And so we all went. So I went back to the shacks. I was living in the shacks at the time, and of course we turned the news on immediately. And it was there that we seen the second plane at the second tower.
What's Ops 150? Break it down.
Oh, so your Ops 150 is just a kit list, a basic kit list to make sure that you have every piece of equipment that you need, packed, ready to go. It's a pretty a basic kit list. So everything, your socks, underwear, boots, boot laces, anything mission essential that you're going to need.
All your base necessities, and you're on, let's say, 24, 48 hours notice to fucking bang out.
Absolutely.
Okay, right on. So then keep going. Like, when did you know that, oh shit, this is a fucking terrorist attack, and at some point we're going to go to war, because 3 VP went out first.
Yeah.
Which because they were the high readiness.
When
at the time.
They were the high readiness unit at the time. As soon as that, we were all suspect when the first plane. It was a,
Well, you'd have to be.
It was like a 730.
You'd have to be.
It was a 737 hit the World Trade Center. Planes don't fly. Passenger planes don't fly that low. So, right away, spotty senses are tingling. And then when that second plane hit, nobody had to tell us. We drew those conclusions ourselves pretty quickly.
100%.
And a lot of young guys, here we are 20 years old, and we're like, holy shit, boys, we're going to war. And that was the first thought in our head. Now, which is two things, is absolute terror and absolute excitement at the same time, because, that's why we joined the Army. Don't want to be morbid, and nobody wants war, but at the same time, you don't want to do all these training exercises and not deploy, right?
No, it's like if you played hockey and just practiced forever.
Yeah, everybody wants to play in a big show.
Like, you've been over there, I've been over there. It fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But it's what we do.
It's what we do, and it's what we want to do.
It's what we want to do. You're right. And that's for a lot of people can't get their head around that. It's like, no, I don't want to go, but you bet your fucking ass I'm going to go.
I'm going to go.
Right?
Yeah.
100%. All goddamn day I'm going to go.
And we've seen it before where there were guys that were on the brink of a release for no particular reason other than their time was up, and then another roto would come around, or they needed op replacements, and guys would pull releases and they would go back. And they're like, well, man, if the boys are going back, I'm not going to let the boys go by themselves. It was not an uncommon thing, and I'm sure it happened in every unit.
Yeah, and even for me, like I told this story when I talked to JT in the last episode. I said, I came back and I had no fucking desire to go back there. Because I just got back. It's like I need to lull the action.
Absolutely.
But then Jen, my ex-wife at the time, got her first opportunity to go. I'm like, well, fuck it. And I'd already been approached to go back and enroll. I went in on my second tour. So on the Friday I went, no, I'm not fucking going. And then on the Monday I'm like, I'm in. And it was like that, right? And it's good because you do not want to miss out on the fucking game, the big show, man.
Absolutely.
You want to go and do what you do. Like, I can't imagine a military career where you ducked or avoided the fucking big show, the deployment.
No.
It's what we do. And yeah, so I get that. Okay, so that happens.
Now, everybody wants to hear about that. When you got into snipers, was that before your first tour to Afghanistan, or do you want to walk me through your deployments first? Like, how do you want to break that down?
We can walk through my deployment. So my very first
Yeah.
deployment was in March of 2003. So the third battalion was already back from Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And but they had an air base set up in the Emirates, and they wanted just a defense and security platoon. So that was a task that was given to the first battalion.
And that's a fucking shit task.
It was a shit task, but as a young private, I'm like,
You're
I'm,
like,
go, I'm
I'll
going
go.
to I'm going to the
Sure.
Middle East now. And remember, this was before like the U.S. Army and the U.S. Marines invaded Iraq the second time. So now,
Right, I was in Bosnia at the time watching that in March of 03 on TV. So when in 03 were you there?
well, it was March to May of 03.
Okay, so it's right about when Iraq 2 was
Kicked
kicking
off,
off.
yeah.
Okay.
So, and we seen all the Americans, everybody kind of coming through there,
Yeah.
and guys were shipping out, and so we were well aware of kind of what was going on or what was going to go on. I mean, and we were pretty jealous, but at the same time, we were happy to be deployed. When most guys were going to Bosnia or getting back from Bosnia, like we were that much closer. We were in the Middle East, so we had we were happy to be there, especially for our first deployment. It was a nice introduction to deployments. I'll say
Okay.
that. Next deployment then was 108 in 2008, and that was a battle group tour with two PPCLI actually, and we had a company from the 3rd Battalion was attached to the 2nd Battalion.
Yep.
So while we were there, I was qualified sniper prior to that deployment, but I was part of a company as a Section 2 IC, so second in command of a section. And when we got on the ground there, they were short snipers, and it was myself and another individual from my platoon. We actually got pulled into the sniper platoon with the 2nd Battalion.
So you
on that
were
deployment.
basic sniper or you were advanced sniper?
Oh, I was basic sniper qualified at the time, and I was
Okay, so let's pause that. Rewind back. When did you decide? Well, fuck. This is a stupid question, but for everybody else out there, how do you know you want to become a sniper? What's it like on a selection to get there, and as much as you can, because there's a lot of still some OPSEC around that skill set. Like, walk me through becoming, number 2 rifleman to fucking becoming a sniper.
So even when you first join, like, you're not familiar with a lot of the specialties, whether, like it's like EOD or sniper or pioneer.
Yeah, like
you kind of hear about it.
My career definitely went right wheel and landed in shit that I did not start in.
Yeah, and it was one of those things. I had a sequence of fortunate events, like most of us. The Army is a lot of like your right place, right time.
Absolutely,
for a lot of
absolutely.
things, right? And if you can perform, you'll get these qualifications.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point in time, I was aware of like our reconnaissance platoon and snipers, and I was qualified basic reconnaissance, which is actually a prerequisite to become a sniper in the Canadian Army.
Yeah.
And I had a CQ, a company quartermaster, he was qualified sniper, and for whatever reason, he must have seen something. And there was 3 guys in the company, myself, my partner Nick Turner, his father, and
Yeah, I do.
and another friend of mine, Gavin Jones, our company quartermaster, pulled us aside. He's like, "Hey, fellas," he goes, "do you want the opportunity?" He goes, "to do sniper." And as corporals, the obvious answer is yes. So from there, we were sent from Suffield back to Edmonton to do the pre-sniper training with the 1st Battalion, and that was just 2 weeks of essentially getting beasted, just to kind of see if you can put up with it. In the meantime, they did teach us some of the basic skills, try to feed us through, try to drink out of a fire hose, just to see what we were able to retain with absolutely no instruction.
Yeah, like from what I know from you, and I'm fortunate to know, ironically weird, and a lot of fucking snipers came into my world in the last few years. And from what I get, you correct me if I'm wrong here, pulling the fucking trigger is the last thing on the list. It's all the shit getting up to that.
Absolutely.
And we could go down this rabbit hole forever. And what snipers bring to the battle space is a fucking lot more than taking out a target. You know, the intelligence they gather, all the shit they do to get up to the point where they're in a position to actually fucking pull that trigger. There's more to it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, the biggest part of being a sniper is your field craft. So it's your ability to operate, on the battlefield, and you're going to be operating alone, not alone as in like by yourself alone, but in small groups. You're going to be away from the main body. So yeah, we could be operating anywhere from 24 to 96 hours, worst case scenario by ourselves. So think of all the equipment you'd have to carry, just radio batteries and food and water for 96 hours, and you're by yourself. So you're going to be disgustingly uncomfortable. Like, it's not a comfortable job. And everybody's familiar with all the sniper movies. And they make it look really glorious and really cool. And I mean, Hollywood's done a great job to help us kind of recruit young snipers.
For sure.
And it's been awesome. But I mean, our job is kind of miserable most of the time.
But let's be honest. What I do know is that a sniper team, like a 2-man or whatever it is, a fucking sniper that's out there can absolutely 100% impact an enemy battalion's worth of guys.
Absolutely.
If they know there's a sniper out there, that will demoralize them. It'll fuck up their how they operate. Like the interdiction level by putting a sniper team out, and the bad guys know they're out there. That's a fucking huge asset to the battlefield commander.
The psychological effect I think that snipers have on a battlefield is greater probably than anything like probably anything else on the battlefield, simply because once again we get back, Hollywood's definitely helped us out with creating this like mystique around snipers and sniping and these these badass dudes on on the battlefield that are they're hard to find if you can find them at all. And what if you're in a defensive position, you're minding your own business, and all of a sudden there's a single shot reduction. Like one person in that defensive position is killed with a single shot, and guys know there's a sniper out there. Like, they don't want to stick their heads out of their holes. They don't. And here we have, and those snipers could have made their shot and left, but the fact that they know snipers could be there, it's
their heads down.
Their heads are down, and they're like, wow, like somebody is actively hunting us. This isn't a bomb and people are getting indiscriminately killed. People, we are crawling around, we are looking for faces, and we're taking people out one at a time. It's very calculated, so.
Absolutely.
So it's it affects morale massively on the battlefield.